I'm no longer pissed, but I was. I was very pissed. Because OBS or Windows something completely screwed up the audio recording for this, like, scene that I use for these discussion videos. I managed to get everything working again. When in doubt, just turn it off and then turn it back on again. Or in this specific instance, unplug it and then plug it back in. There's some name for it, I don't remember it, but that's a law of computer science. In effect, you're going to do something similar to what the character we're talking about today does. And you're going to burrow in and you're going to find the problem and then you're going to root it out. Because the surface world is a blight upon this planet. And in this case, the blight is the OBS user interface. Can you destroy it for me? This is my Megalon X Plus. As I've said in previous videos, at some point I realized I had way too many Godzilla X Plus figures. And so I got Gigan, as you guys saw in the Gigan Monster Manual video a few weeks back, but couldn't resist the urge to buy his partner in crime as well. Because I figured that if you're going to get the Gigan X Plus, you might as well get the Megalon X Plus too. I wonder if I should get a priest in here. Maybe if he blesses my Megalon X Plus, maybe the video will actually record and the audio levels will not be terrible this time. Anyway, it's a Monster Manual day, which means it's a Friday. I'm not really planning that. That's just kind of how things ended up winding up after I recorded enough. Obviously, there's only a finite number of the Monster Manuals, so unless more monsters are revealed by the time I start having to record new videos, at some point they're going to run out. Maybe I'll go over monsters that I would like to see, or just like things I would like to see in monsters, like movesets and costumes and stuff. But today, we are going to go over Megalon's Monster Manual and talk about it and see what's in there. Obviously, I recorded this once already, so it's not going to be a surprise to me, but it kind of helped me articulate the thoughts that I did have. I've also got my book here. I'll go over the stuff that's written in here as it's necessary, because it does become relevant at certain points in the Monster Manual for Megalon. But let's get into that, right?
megaLAWN!
I love how OBS is smart enough to understand when I get the Monster Manual main menu up, but it's too stupid to know how to do other things. Megalon being third on the Monster Manual select screen just feels right. As with most of the bios, most of this isn't particularly interesting. It just kind of recaps the movies. But one thing did catch my eye the first time, particularly this sentence. Quote, in modern day, with the M Space Hunter Nebula aliens being a part of the Vortok Council, I guess that's not a full sentence, it's just the preposition at the beginning of the sentence. But see, this is interesting. I don't know if we're going to be getting a full-blown story mode for this mod. I highly doubt it, since it is, as I just stated, a mod. But I like how the dev team is, in some small way, incorporating many of these elements of the broader Godzilla macrocosm. I don't even know what the Vortok Council even is, but that does sound like a really cool, like, fourth game antagonist alliance sort of deal, you know? I know I have ragged on the bio screens, but if they're kind of using them to kind of expand the lore in this way, then I'm perfectly okay with them. I actually enjoy it in those instances. Megalon is in the version 0.01 demo, so this moveset page is going to be less revelatory, and more so just explaining it and giving us maybe a pseudo preview of version 2 of the demo, which at the time I recorded this, May 4th, 2024, we obviously don't have that demo yet, so maybe by the time this video comes out, this will be kind of old hat, but it's interesting for the moment. And most of the notes I had written in that notebook will probably be discussed through this. So Megalon's main gimmick is obviously the fact that he can burrow underground. And according to the manual, this is to wreak havoc on the kaiju battlefield by digging underneath the opponents as well as the structures, i.e. the building. So the simple one is that I know Megalon can cause buildings to collapse by burrowing underneath them now, which is awesome, and it kind of makes you wonder why that wasn't like that in the game to begin with. I mean, at the scale the characters are in the game at current, an 100-meter plus tall giant cockroach burrowing underneath a massive steel skyscraper is likely to incite a collapse. But as I said, it also mentions digging underneath opponents and this is a point of criticism I'm going to make. I played the demo before I recorded the first time, and also obviously this time. Megalon's burrow speed has been substantially increased, at least in the version 0.01 demo. I personally think it's a little too fast. I understand the need to kind of speed things up, and obviously given that it's a kaiju fighter and Megalon is a massive creature, logically he would move pretty fast, but I found it easier to control in the base game as opposed to version 0.01 of the demo of Save the Earth Melee. So I would either revert it to the original game's speed, which was perfectly fine as it was, or I'd kind of meet halfway between the current version 0.01 speed and the speed that was in the vanilla game. I'll probably touch more on that in a second. Megalon screeches and laughs his way to victory. I'm going to talk about the laugh in a second too. Resurfacing with an attack hitbox is an excellent addition, and I thank the dev team for that because, as I feel like I say very often, that feels like something that was so obvious that it almost baffles the mind as to how it wasn't in the game in the first place. His beam attack is another thing, although it's a little bit more understandable why it was the way that it was in the vanilla game. Long story short, you can read the manual for yourself here while I'm talking about it. At weak charge, Megalon's beam attack basically is a reuse of King Ghidorah's gravity beam's effect for its beam weapon. This is obviously, and this doesn't reference it, but it's pretty obvious, Megalon's horn lasers in the original Godzilla vs. Megalon were just a paltry use of Showa King Ghidorah's gravity beam attack footage from previous movies. And it says here in this manual that at full charge, the purple lightning effect gets added to indicate that you've gotten to the strongest level of the beam. And that's obviously because in Godzilla Save the Earth, the beam had a purple lightning component to it. And that wasn't obviously present in the original version. But I kind of like this. It's not strictly a gameplay enhancement, but it does kind of give you a little bit of a feedback mechanism to know just how strong the beam is if you're not the one that was charging it up and you're not, counting the seconds until it fires. Megalon's secondary special is his napalm bombs from his mouth, and I have a comment on that. So remember how earlier in this same manual it says that Megalon screeches and laughs his way to victory? If you don't have enough energy to launch a napalm bomb as it stands currently in the version 0.01 demo, Megalon makes a laughing sound effect. In the vanilla Save the Earth, you'd hear and then there'd be a purple bar on the energy meter that would tell you basically, hey, this is how much energy you should have had if you wanted to do that. Hopefully it's not just the fact that I'm so used to that. I don't mind the fact that he laughs, but it kind of obscures the reason that you don't fire a napalm bomb. I imagine if you're a person who's never really played this game before and, unlike me, did not grow up playing it, if that happens, you'd probably be a little bit confused as to why you weren't doing the napalm bomb. Maybe I'm just not giving people enough credit. At the very least, I would have the energy meter be covered in purple, kind of like in the original game. If you want to replace the with the laugh, that's fine, and I'm okay with that. It's just that the changes kind of make it a little obscure as to what's going on. Even if the game had a training mode, I feel like that wouldn't be a good idea. I know this game is supposed to be for Godzilla fans by Godzilla fans, but most people aren't going to think of it like that. Megalon seems like he's going to be the trickster archetype from fighting games, which means he's probably going to be pretty much useless in casual play, aside from having the enjoyment of playing as Megalon of all things. I know Gojirek said that he was his favorite, so I know he'll enjoy it, but I have a feeling he'll be a nuisance in competitive play, which I don't know how widespread that's going to be, but on to the skins. Yeah, I already looked at this once, so I'm gonna probably speed through it a little bit. Daikasen Alt, excellent, and it's in keeping with a lot of the other monsters like Showa Anguirus. The Domination skin makes me look stupid, because in one of my first uploads about Godzilla Save the Earth Melee, I said how this one is probably the only one from that game that needs to be in it, and I didn't know at the time, but there's a trailer for Megalon in STEM that predates that video that I uploaded, so if I had just known more of my stuff, I would have known that they already had it in the game, and I could have eliminated that whole segment from that video. The Trendmasters one, there seem to be quite a few Trendmasters skins in the game at current. Double Smash Megalon, I don't know why, but I'm looking forward to using that one. And in keeping with tradition, they're letting you use the Save the Earth classic mod model, which is excellent. Okay, so let's talk about the skins that are currently not in the game. There's currently 6 slots open. I feel like the skins that I'm going to suggest on their own cover pretty much everything. So Goji Rex, take notes please. First, and I feel like the most obvious, would be this one. Much like Gigan, there was a short film in which Godzilla Jr. kind of continues the Heisei series continuity, and after he defeats Gigan and Gigan Rex, Megalon is the next one. I highly recommend you watch it, just to brush up with that whole thing, all those fan films. I don't exactly know what the differences are between this and the classic design. Because it's more of a Heisei thing, and due to the design changes they made to Gigan as well as Godzilla Jr. as Godzilla, I imagine it's going to be different enough. I feel like you could do this one. I just don't know how they'd find out what he looks like full body, you know what I mean? But I also haven't watched that short in a while. Probably should have watched it before this video, but this one I feel like has a good chance of getting in. Okay, so that one I think is mostly a model change. Here are some that are just purely color variation. And these were all sourced from Google Images. Just look up Megalon Recolor Action Figure, and you'll be able to find them. But if you can't find them that way, obviously this video is here. This one's pretty obvious to me. It's a white Megalon, and he's got golden eyes. Seems like a pretty straightforward recolor to me. Doesn't require any model changes. I kind of like this one. I actually liked it when I first found it, because obviously I didn't know it existed until I saw it. This one I really like. It's kind of like a dark blue, cobalt, sort of kind of black Megalon with like completely red eyes. And I really like the blue, you know, the light blue on the stomach and on the legs and on the chest. I'm gonna vouch for this one. I like this one. And again, just a recolor. Okay, so there's 2 of these. Both of these were sourced from the Wikizilla website, specifically on Megalon's gallery page. So kudos to whoever put these in there, because I wouldn't have known about them otherwise. Now, these ones might require slight model changes, but I imagine you could get away with just the color schemes and ignore the model differences. This first one is a scrapped concept art of Megalon. This one's in color. The biggest difference is that it lacks the horn, and instead it has like 2 pinchers on top of its head. Not really sure if it's worthwhile to waste time trying to get it to look accurate to that. Also, if you can't tell, the drills are relatively small, and he's been skipping leg day, so his legs aren't as chunky and muscular. Obviously not as much as the Heisei Megalon, but at the very least the color scheme is good to go, you know. This one is also scrapped concept art for Megalon. I presume the guidebook that this is from was printed in black and white, so you could probably get away with making this a slightly different model and just using the color scheme from the base game Megalon. This one has the same model differences as the last one. Skinnier claws, skinnier legs. It doesn't have pinchers on its head, though. This one is just a slightly different horn. Maybe you could combine this one with the last one, but it would be kind of cool to have Megalon with a black and white skin, you know what I mean? Model difference, again, it's trivial, whatever. Hey, now, Wikizilla, you are squarely to blame for this. This is a recolor, not a remodel. Let me just let you simmer on this for a few seconds, you know, really take it in. There was a Megalon eraser at some point. It's all a single color, which could potentially be a problem. Don't ask me why. I don't know why it would be a problem, but I just feel like it could be a problem. That said, it is a freaking eraser, and it would probably be funny if people were picking skins for their characters and a Megalon main was just like, guess I'll go with the eraser skin because I'm gonna erase you, or some bullshit like that. This one's just novel. I just thought it was funny. Might be interesting. Before I go, I'm just gonna close up with some thoughts on Megalon based on the version 0.01 demo. First the negative, then the positive. The negative, if you can even call it a negative, it's merely a criticism. It's just that Megalon's not as much fun as Gigan. I imagine, though, that might just be kind of the point. As I said in the Gigan manual video, Gigan's kind of like baby's first character for this game. Fun to play, easy to pick up, just a bundle of fun for a casual. Megalon is, as a trickster, like I said, less inclined to be that easy to pick up and play, so that might just be intended. However, I will say, as someone who played the vanilla Savior, kudos to the sound designer, because they did a good job with Megalon, because his drills are so visceral. Like, just use the down punch ability on someone in the version 0.01 demo as Megalon. It is so satisfying. It's kind of like using Gigan's back punch where he rips out the saw blade, you just feel like you are just grinding your opponent down to dust. Also, since I mentioned sound design, just want to put it in the video. Kudos to whoever did the building destruction sound effects. They make destruction so much fun in this game. So yeah, I believe that's all I've got in the manual. Boy, I don't know how many more of these manuals we've got. I'm gonna try to keep them going as long as I can. If I don't have a way to do a monster manual, maybe I'll just do something kind of similar to the airstrike suggestions and just kind of talk about things I'd like to see with characters. Or maybe I'll go back to stuff that I've already talked about and kind of just corral a bunch of information that has been updated since I made these videos. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And while you're at it, drop a napalm bomb on the like button. And no, I mean, leave a like, not a dislike, please, I'm begging you. Anyways, that's all I got for today. I will see you guys in the next video, whenever that comes around.